Good morning, everybody. Not only is it snowing today in the UK, but today is a pretty damn cool day because I am off to go and get my first ever Dexa scan. My dad surprised me with this as a present because he thought it would be the best way for me to be able to actually see if my body composition is changing throughout this journey. First Dexa scan ever. Important to remember, the only way you can accurately, 100% accuracy, be able to see your body fat percentage is to actually be chopped up, dissected, and someone have a look. And of course, I'm not going to do that, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to too. But these DEXA scans are the next best thing. So they're way more accurate than the sort of electrolysis ones that you hold your hands on at the gym, or these sort of scale things that are all sort of flying about right now. You get put into almost an MRI machine. I'll video it, you can see it all, and we can see exactly how much muscle mass I've got, how much body fat we've got, and then we can do another one in like 6 or 12 months time throughout this journey and see just how much my body composition changes. Let's jump in the Tesla, let's go. Now back home in front of my favourite spot, which is the Christmas tree. So let's have a look at the DEXA scan results. In the background, I'll show you exactly what was going on, what happens when you go for a DEXA scan, what it looks like, and I'll talk through my results as I go through. Now, the first thing that I want to get through is the fact that anything that does this kind of thing has a built-in tolerance. It's not the be-all and end-all. Just because this is what the scan says does not mean that it's 100% totally accurate. There is always going to be margin for error in these sorts of things. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is going to be BMI. Now, I personally don't like this as a figure or a measurement mark for telling people whether they're obese or whatever else. But the first time in my life, I finally come into the overweight category instead of the obese category. So that kind of tells you how crazy this thing is. It doesn't really take into account how much of your weight is muscle, and we'll come back onto that in a minute. How much of your weight is fat, how much of your weight is organ, bone, anything else. It just takes your height, it takes your weight, spits out a formula, and then we stick you into a certain BMI count. So my BMI actually came out at 28.4, which classes me as being overweight. And I'm really not worried about this. And the rest of the scan will show you why. So let's get into what everybody's here for, and that is the body fat percentage. Now, it's important to note that DEXA scan body fat percentages are always going to be higher than what your bro guy down at the local gym tells you he is. He's not 4% when he's shredded on stage. He's not. On a DEXA scan, he'd be more like 8 to 10%. And my DEXA body fat percentage is 21.2. And I was actually really happy with that. My fat mass index, but we can see it a little bit lower on the page, is at 6.07. Now, it's saying to me that compared to other 35-year-old males, normal range is 2 to 5. So I am slightly over the fat mass index. But again, I'm not too worried. And the next page will really tell you why. On this page, we can see that my visceral fat is actually really relatively low. Now, it's really important to remember that the visceral fat, or spillover fat, as sometimes people will call it, that's the dangerous stuff. That's the stuff that puts you more at risk of coronary heart disease, all of that sort of stuff. Diabetes, anything like that is all going to come from having an excessive amount of visceral fat. And as you can see from my scan, mine is actually relatively low and well within the normal range. Now, this is the part that made me really happy, because when I started on this journey and started telling everybody that actually, do you know what? I want to compete as a bodybuilder at some point in the future. It's why I started working with Team 3D MJ, spoken to my coach Alberto Nunez about this, and I understand it may be a little way off. However, you always have in the back of your mind when you're starting these journeys, am I delusional? Have I not got the muscle mass that I think? Am I fatter than what I thought? And the answer in this scan told me I'm in better shape than I think. When we look at my lean mass index, we can see I am in the higher percentiles for muscle mass for people my age and my size. This is a good hint to the fact that actually I have a really good base of muscle on me already. And it's just going to be getting rid of this layer of fat that's over the top of it and revealing it. This makes me feel really good about the future. So on this page, we can see how my lean mass compares to other people that are the same sex and the same age as me. And as you can see, on my arms, well above average, in the trunk, well above average, and my legs, well above average. So you know your boy doesn't skip leg day. Now the scan goes on to show me bone density, measurements, all of that stuff. But in all honesty, anybody that's interested in this kind of stuff's not really here for this. We want to know about our body fat percentage, and we want to know about our lean muscle mass. And I've come away from this scan feeling pretty good about myself. Like, I didn't realize I had as much muscle mass as I do, and I'm actually not as fat as what I thought. And for somebody that started where I started, being obese, being on a weight loss journey for all of this time, This was really good news and has totally changed the way that I actually look at myself. So if you're struggling with these sort of things yourself, that kind of body dysmorphia kind of thing, I suggest you go and get a DEXA scan. You can't argue with the science, you can't argue with what the machine tells you. And yes, there is a range of tolerances. For example, if I went and had another scan today, it might tell me something slightly different. But the point is, when you're going off of what you see in the mirror and you're looking at yourself every day, and you've been 107 pounds heavier like I was, or had a similar background to me, you kind of kid yourself that you're in a worse position than what you are, and you're always harder on yourself than what you should be. But in the next 5-6 months, I'd really like to see that fat mass come down, and I'd like to see the lean mass even climb up. Now, obviously, the more muscle mass that I have on me, the better that's going to make my body fat percentage. But I am so excited for the future after this scan. So where does this scan leave me? This scan leaves me feeling pretty good, that I'm not actually as fat as what I think in my head. I'm more in shape than I think, and I've got more muscle mass than I think. So I actually came out from this DEXA scan feeling pretty good about myself. It gave me a total different perspective on my shape, my body, and how much work I've actually done and how far I've come from where I started. So yeah, what a great day, what a great experience, and I cannot wait to get another one done in maybe 6 or 7 months time. So if you're interested to see how much I can get these numbers to change in the next 6 months, hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and I'll see you in the next one.
Like and subscribe!